Air racing is a motorsport that involves airplanes competing over a fixed course, with the winner either returning the shortest time, the one to complete it with the most points, or to come closest to a previously estimated time. History. The first heavier-than-air air race was held on May 23, 1909 in the Prix de la Gatinerie, at the Port Aviation Airport south of Paris, France. 4 pilots entered the race. 2 started and nobody completed the full race distance, though this was not unexpected as the rules specified that whoever traveled furthest would be the winner if no one completed the race. Elie Couteau and Delagrange, who covered slightly more than half of the 10.1.2-kilometre laps, was declared the winner. Some other minor events were held before the Grande Semaine d'Aviation de la Champagne in August 22 to 29, 1909 at Reims, France. This was the first major international flying event, drawing the most important aircraft makers and pilots of the era, as well as celebrities and royalty. The premier event, the first Gordon Bennett Trophy competition, was won by Glenn Curtis, who beat second-place finish Louis Blériot by 5 seconds. Curtis was named champion air racer of the world. The first air race in the United States was held at Dominguez Field, just south of Los Angeles, from January 10 to 20, 1910, organized by pilots A. Roy Benz-Hugh and Charles Willard. Funding was raised from railroad magnate Henry Huntington and the Los Angeles Merchants and Manufacturers Association. William Randolph Hearst carried coverage of the event in his Los Angeles Examiner, and hired a hot air balloon with a promotional pass outing his newspaper. The event attracted 43 entrants, of which 16 appeared. It was that aviation pioneer and military pilot Jimmy Doolittle, then 13, saw his first airplane. In the years before the First World War, popular interest in aviation led to a large number of air races in Europe, including the 1911 Circuit of Europe race, the Daily Mail Circuit of Britain air race and the Aerial Derby. In 1913 the first Schneider Trophy seaplane race was held. When the competition was resumed after the war, it was significant in advancing aeroplane design, particularly in the fields of aerodynamics and engine design, and would show its results in the best fighters of World War II. On October 19, 1919, the Army Transcontinental Air Race began along a 2,700-mile route from Long Island, New York to San Francisco, California and back, which would see widespread carnage including 7 fatalities. Of the 48 aircraft that started, 33 would complete the double crossing of the continent. In 1921, the United States instituted the National Air Meets, which became the National Air Races in 1924. In 1929, the Women's Air Derby, nicknamed the Powder Puff Derby, became a part of the National Air Races circuit. The National Air Races lasted until 1949. The Cleveland Air Races was another important event. In 1947, an all-woman transcontinental air race, also dubbed the Powder Puff Derby, was established, running until 1977. In 1934, the McRobertson Air Race from England to Australia took place, with the winning de Havilland Comet flown by CWA Scott and Tom Campbell Black. In 1964, Bill Stead, a Nevada rancher, pilot, and unlimited hydroplane racing champion, organized the first Reno Air Races at a small dirt strip called the Sky Ranch, located between Sparks, Nevada, and Pyramid Lake. The national championship air races were soon moved to the Reno Stead Airport and have been held there every September since 1966. The 5-day event attracts around 200,000 people, and includes racing around courses marked out by pylons for 6 classes of aircraft: unlimited, a Formula 1, sport biplane at 6, sport and jet. It also features civil air show acts, military flight demonstrations, and a large static aircraft display. Other promoters have run pylon racing events across the USA and Canada, including races in Las Vegas, NV in 1965, Lancaster, SEA in 1965 and 1966, Mojave, California in 1970-71 and 1973-79, at Cape May, NJ in 1971, San Diego, SEA in 1971, Miami, FL in 1973 and 1979, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan in 1984, Hamilton Field, California in 1988, at Dallas, Texas in 1990, in Denver, Colorado in 1990 and 1992, in Kansas City in 1993, in Phoenix, Arizona in 1994 and 1995, and in Tunica, Mississippi in 2005. Numerous other venues across the United States, Canada, and Mexico have also hosted events featuring the smaller Formula 1 and biplane classes. In 1970, American Formula 1 racing was exported to Europe, where almost as many races have been held as in the USA. Also in 1970, the California 1000 air race started at the Mojave Airport with a 66-lap unlimited air race that featured a Douglas DC-7 with 1 aircraft, completing the circuit. Red Bull has created a series called the Red Bull Air Race World Championship, in which competitors fly individually between pairs of pylons, while performing prescribed maneuvers, usually held over water near large cities. The sport has attracted large crowds and renewed media interest in air racing. AeroGP has multiple aircraft racing together around pylons, and is based in Europe, where it has held an air race each year since 2005. Powered paragliding or paramotor races have been organized, with the first occurring on the 4th of September 2010 in an airfield in Montauban, southern France. These are parasails powered by small 2-stroke engines and allow a much smaller race where the audience can see the pilots as they carry out their maneuvers. Historical championships, active air races, classes. Restricting aircraft to a specific type of design creates a competition that focuses on pilot skill. Air racing events such as the Reno Air Races incorporate multiple classes or aircraft. These may be defined by the race organizer or by a sanctioned group. Some air races are limited to a single class. Classes used at the Reno races are as follows: notable racing pilots: Pancho Barnes, Lyle Bales, André Beaumont, Peter Bissenier, Louis Blériot, Alan Cobham, Jacqueline Cochran, Glenn Curtis, Jeffrey de Havilland, Jeffrey de Havilland Jr., Jimmy Doolittle, Amelia Earhart, Roland Garros, Eugene Gilbert, Claude Graham White, Gustav Hamel, Harry Hawker, Frank Hawkes, Alex Henshaw, Steve Hinton, Skip Holm, Benny Howard, Amy Johnson, Hubert Latham, Tony Levere, Paul Mantz, Jim Mollison, John Moisant, Blanche Noyes, Adolphe Pegud, John Cyril Port, C.W.A. Scott, Lyle Shelton, Thomas Sopworth, Louise Thaden, Bobby Trout, Roscoe Turner, Jules Vedrines, Jimmy Weddle, Charles Wayman, Mike Mangold. Racing airplanes. Cultural depictions. Set in the 1930s, the movie Porco Rosso briefly touches on the early days of air racing. The Rocketeer comic books feature air racing prominently as the story is set during the 1930s. The 1965 film Those Magnificent Men in the Flying Machines depicts a £10,000 prize air race between London and Paris. The film takes place in 1910 and utilizes many authentic reproductions of airplanes from that era. The 2013 Disney movie, Planes, follows the story of a cropbuster who dreams of becoming an air racing champion in the global Wings Around the Globe race.